It's not about me. It's not about Mr. Trump. It's about America.
Next on Newsmax Prime, the physician and the frontrunner. Dr. Ben Carson endorses Donald Trump. Sheriff Joe Arpaio is here to talk about it. Also ahead, remembering Nancy Reagan. Another Nancy looks back at the life of her friend and our former First Lady. Plus, imagine a book that's part screw tape letters and part House of Cards. Steve Deace has written it, and he'll explain why the forces of wrong want to destroy something so right. Newsmax Prime starts right now. Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Newsmax Prime. I'm J.D. Hayworth. Of prime interest tonight, a prescription for the presidency. Dr. Ben Carson diagnosed our nation's ills during the course of his own campaign. Now he says the remedy is Donald Trump. Miranda Kahn has more on this major endorsement.
JD, earlier in the course of this campaign, Dr. Carson was given a bitter pill to swallow as the surgeon was rising in the polls. Donald Trump attacked him, saying Carson's self-described pathological temper was like the sickness of a child molester. This morning, in announcing his endorsement of Trump, Dr. Carson says that's all in the past.
Well, first of all, we buried the hatchet. That was political stuff. And, you know, that happens in American politics. The politics of personal destruction, all that. Is not something that I particularly believe in or anything that I get involved in. But I do recognize that it is a part of the process. We move on because it's not about me. It's not about Mr. Trump. It's about America.
In fact, Dr. Carson couldn't resist a psychological evaluation of the frontrunner, joking about the two faces of Trump, but not calling it multiple personality disorder.
There are two different Donald Trumps. There's the one you see on the stage, and there's the one who's very cerebral, sits there and considers things very carefully. You can have a very good conversation with him. And that's the Donald Trump that you're going to start seeing more and more of right now.
I think there are two Donald Trumps. There's the public version, and people see that, and I don't know what they see exactly, but it seems to have worked over my lifetime, but it's probably different, I think, than the personal Donald Trump. I think Ben would say that. Ben said it very well today. So perhaps there are two Donald Trumps. But, I'm somebody that is a thinker. I'm a big thinker. And I have my ideas, and they're strong, and, typically they've worked out.
Also working out for Trump, another key endorsement this afternoon in St. Louis. Conservative Maven Phyllis Schlafly made it official, appearing with the frontrunner at a large rally. Missouri is one of 5 states holding its primary next Tuesday. JD, back to you.
Thanks, Miranda. For more on this story, we're very pleased to be joined by my dear friend, Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who checks in tonight from Phoenix. Sheriff Joe, it's great to have you back on Newsmax Prime.
Well, thank you, JD. Enjoy the weather in Florida.
Well, I do, but you're giving us a run for the
at.
money. Yes, that's for sure. But spring training in full force, and another rite of spring every 4 years, a presidential campaign. Now, Joe, it's very interesting. Your name came up again last night at the big debate as Donald Trump and Ted Cruz went back and forth on illegal immigration and amnesty. Let's look and listen.
First of all, Ted was in favor of amnesty, so there's no question about that. And Sheriff Joe Arpaio recently endorsed me, and there's nobody tougher on the borders than Sheriff Joe.
In fact, Sheriff Joe, it seems the Donald mentions you at just about every campaign stop. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I can't make every stop. I've done 4 endorsing him recently. I guess it was 5 weeks ago. It wasn't recent. It was in Iowa. But I opened up his rally here 7 months ago in Phoenix. And again, so I've been with him 4 or 5 times. I believe in him right from the beginning. My gut told me that he's different, he's going to make a difference. So that's why I went with him. You know, I've endorsed JD. I've endorsed you because you are a great guy. I've endorsed Bush. I was his campaign guy, and Mitt Romney. But this Donald Trump is a little different.
Well, not only is it a little
I'm
different,
concerned.
he's speaking our language about the border, is he not, Joe? Some of the other guys would hem and haw, but Trump is tough on the border. Was that the primary reason you decided to endorse the Donald?
No, you know, I've been around 24 years as a sheriff, and, you know, I worked in Turkey, Mexico, all over the world as head of the federal drug enforcement. My big mission was drugs. I just took on the illegal immigration because laws were passed, and I'm enforcing the laws. But I've done other things. I like other things that he stands for, not just the illegal immigration, the guns and the economic problems we have. He's honest, speaks out, isn't afraid of the media. You know how that is, JD. So I like what he says, and I'll tell you one thing. I think, I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but I think I understand him. He's a very proud person. So if you think he's making all these promises that he's not going to keep them, I got news for you. His character will drive him to keeping his promise. So watch out. He's going to keep most of those promises.
Well, I know that reassures a lot of people, Joe, and it was interesting this morning to hear Dr. Carson during his announcement endorsing Donald Trump. The good doctor said this morning he understands the image problem Donald Trump faces, but he said the more we get to know Mr. Trump, the more comfortable we will become. Let's listen to the good doctor.
I do recognize how a person's image can be greatly distorted, having been the victim of that. I probably understand it better than anybody. And I think as the American people who we are focusing on, as they begin to see the real individual there and those who are helping that individual, I think we're going to be comforted as a nation.
So, Joe, you have spent time with Donald Trump. You've seen him up close. You've spoken with him. Do you share the assessment of Dr. Carson? The more we see him, the more reassured we'll be by Mr. Trump.
Well, you know, I didn't spend that much time. Every time I meet with and endorse him, I have a little time with it, but I never sat down for about 2 hours. But once again, my gut tells me, when you say he's two different people, I'll tell you, even when I meet him, he's a regular guy. He's not that much different than when he's before the media. He has to be careful. He has to be a little different when you're dealing with the media. You know that. But he really is an honest guy. He tells it like it is. That's him. Now, he can be very professional and presidential. Come on, you know how that works too. But don't disregard what he's saying, that he's just saying it. He means it. He means it. And he's got the guts to speak out, especially before the media and all those critics out there. So let's not disregard his character and so on. But he's smart, and he's a regular guy. He's got money, but what I like about him, he's a regular guy. He likes the underdog. He likes all the people. They don't have to be rich, and the working people. And I believe him. I believe what he says. So, you know, what can I say?
Well, you said a lot already,
Dave.
and I will tell you, I really appreciate your endorsement, and I know Mr. Trump appreciates your endorsement as well. Sheriff Joe Arpaio, tonight from Phoenix. Thanks so much for your time here on Newsmax Prime.
Thank you.